I love what Steve said, have that healthy body, that 15-20, and have the abs, but you're not going to have the veins running through the abs. I'm not even sure you want that because people don't know what that even feels like. It's another world feeling. And
there's nothing like crying because you're driving past a donut shop.
Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too.
Hey everyone, welcome to Muscle Matters. I'm here with Tom and Steve, and we're doing the show. And Steve brought me something special today. He brought me this new amino acids. Tell them what it is.
I like that.
This is an essential amino acid. A lot of times people talk about amino acids. You'll hear them talk about it. You'll hear them talk about branched-chain amino acids. It gets a lot of publicity. But the problem with a branched-chain amino acid is it does not work effectively without the protein being in your blood system. And
Amen.
most people do not eat enough protein to actually make it effective. So when you hear people say their amino doesn't work, it's because they don't have enough protein in their system. This product is actually an essential amino acid as well as a branched-chain amino acid. The essential amino acids are the aminos that you get from food. Your body does not make them. So these are the aminos that you actually need to make the really cool ones work good. So this is an essential. It's a complete amino acid blend, and they're set up for recovery. If you're not recovering, then yeah, your amino.
But there's something special for the ADHD guys.
Oh, for you. Oh,
Yeah.
That particular one. The reason I gave him that particular one has a neurotropic in it. So it's very great for cognitive thinking. It helps you
Mike needs
concentrate.
help cognitive thinking.
Concentrating on task at hand.
Yeah.
There you go.
And where do we get them at?
You get at Sportline West, 7420 District Boulevard. We're right across the street from Nestle.
Hey,
Awesome.
Hey, we're going to be able to tell if this works, Steve. So this is like a lab rat because Mike is the perfect person
Lab
to
rat.
get this. He's a perfect lab rat to see if he will be better at cognitive thinking and staying on track.
Not saying squirrel?
Yes.
I am.
Yeah. So it's funny. As you might notice, we're on a show called Muscles Matters, and I don't know why Mike chooses to keep wearing cowboy shoes on our shows. I mean, I want to ask Mike, and of course he got his trainer right next to him. Does he wear cowboy shoes into the gym?
I have before.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that with workout socks.
But I changed.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And put on actual tennis shoes. And
Okay.
I wear Under Armour. I don't wear the Jordans.
Those
so
are
you guys are
spiffy
gonna have to-
Jordans, since we are talking about.
Well, Steve and I've talked before, and we know that I know that he's a sneakerhead, big more than I am.
You're a sneakerhead too, though.
I know. Reebok was one of my first sponsors, and I loved them as a sponsor because I got a lot of shoes. And I didn't realize I got a dysfunction when I got that. I like shoes. And I like, and
They
I like-
addicted you, but somehow it didn't stay with Reebok. It transferred over to Nike.
well, no, Reebok.
Well, Reebok got kind of caca for a while. I'll
Well,
admit.
that and I didn't stay a hot item. They weren't just giving me shoes to give me shoes. They wanted me to.
I agree
have
with
shoes.
that. You didn't stay a hot item.
I didn't. I did not. I did not. I mean, I call myself the underachieving Mr. California.
I'm just poking at you, Tom.
I do not. I didn't live
You're a
up
hotter item than I am.
I didn't live up to my title. I should have went farther. I didn't. Okay, regardless of that, we're talking about today a subject that I know is dear to Steve in my heart. Mike's getting into the muscle game, so he hasn't had a lot of 90-day preps for, are you ready to go topless? What that means is, can you show what you've done in hibernation?
You know how many winter shows I did, and I realized I'm doing shows at the wrong time of the year. You can't take your shirt off in December.
My wife and I had this conversation this morning because I told her, I go, every photo you see in a magazine's done 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after a whatever the athlete was prepping for. And so hey, summer's coming. And are you ready? I mean, it's a countdown. I mean, we could say a 90-day countdown.
Well, I think the clock sprung ahead, and spring came with it.
Yes, it did.
The gopher put his head back in the ground.
I like that
Yeah.
analogy.
It got warm all of a sudden, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was like freezing, raining, snowing. Then all of a sudden warm.
I cut a funny promo on Friday because it was still cold, talking about, hey, it's coming. Then the clock went ahead, and I was like, oh, it's here. It's not coming anymore. It's here.
That's so funny. I drove through a cloud. Never drove through a cloud before that was full of rain up to the top of the Fort Tejon Pass, and that was like driving through a car wash. I mean, I've been through rainstorms before, but
Kind of like when you take an airplane and they go through it, huh?
it was really interesting. So what is it going to take? I think that's something that Mike can ask a few questions on today. But I think, I'm going to jump in because, Steve, I think it takes diet. And I'm going to give you a new definition from diet. Steve, if you don't like it, you can throw a new new definition. I say, do more, eat less is ready for summer. I mean, if you add do more and eat less, you're ready for summer.
That's diet 101.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you're eating 2 cheeseburgers a day, eat 1. You may not like the results that you see. If you're young, your system probably can handle it. If you're over 45, it's a death sentence for your summer bod. So we're talking about summer bods today. Training's important. I'm telling you, when you get older, I got a lot to say about something you should do because I've just hit a groove, Steve. I was told you I was training a little heavier, and you helped me out a bunch. And we'll probably do a show on the supplement I'm taking.
Okay.
But I was able to cut my caffeine back, and I've got a new mindset. So I've got some really good stuff to say about your product and a show that we have. And we're talking a 65-year-old man here. It's giving me new life. We just talked about new wine in our lunch break session with Mike, and we're talking about spiritual new wine. But this,
Why isn't this something I'm taking, Steve?
You are.
Oh, okay.
Did I just hear him get jealous of a
I got,
65-year-old man?
I got jealous of the 65-year-old man.
65-year-old
man.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grandpa.
That's okay. You can call me that because guess what? People ask me nowadays. They did. A guy asked me in the gym the other day, "What are you doing different?" I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, what are you going to compete again?" I go, "Heck no, I never compete again. Ignorance is bliss." You and I've talked about that before. I said, "I just want to be the best me I can be." When I look back in the morning, I'm not trying to be you. I mean, I love Steve. I mean, you have a tremendous physique, always have. But I want to be the best me.
So Tom, I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
What was it like riding dinosaurs?
You don't sound like Barney Rubble. My shoes got wore out a lot more when I had to do the little feet thing and drive the cars when I started driving.
They had those feet shoes. Is that what they came from?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep.
because they only had so many, so it just wore out. So it's just his toes sticking out.
Yep. So that's what it was like. But it was funny because as you do talk about that, I did feel that in the beginning, and we talked about this on our last episode of Muscle Matters. What it was like in the earlier days where you had to you were innovating because there was nothing there to begin with. You got the Sears workout stuff, metal or the plastic with the semen in them.
Well, like I asked you guys, what did you guys do when you were on the treadmill? And you're like, or the Stairmaster, you go, didn't have one.
Didn't have one.
You had to go outside.
Or
they went to the stadium at BC.
And just run up
Yeah.
Hey, they were called stadiums back then.
Yeah, right.
You know what? I like those rather than running in a circle.
I do
do.
too. Because you go someplace.
Yes.
Like I said on the show, if you rode a bike, you had to ride a bike to go someplace.
Plus
If
you're
you ran-
outside.
If you ran, you had to run someplace. But if you want to do stairs, you had to
Oh,
go
I
up
couldn't
the stairs.
imagine having to do that right now in Bakersfield. If getting ready for a show, I'd be one angry little critter.
Yeah.
110 in Bakersfield having to ride a bike. But I'd be. I wonder if I could wear my posing briefs and get away with it.
Yeah,
'Cause
no.
I wouldn't have to worry about a tan anymore.
Because you have a mindset of a lifter, and you would put the rubber gear on to sweat more.
Yes,
than
I
110.
would. You're right.
Yeah.
I'd die.
Yeah, you
I'd
would.
die because I'd wear the sweatsuit. You're right.
Yeah. So as we're talking about what do you take to get prepared, Mike, I don't know how you want to do this. Do you want to ask questions or you want to
Yeah. So what do you tell like a non-meathead fat guy like me how to get like where I feel not just okay, but like I feel like
Can I start this off,
Yes.
Steve? Have a realistic expectation.
So what's realistic?
Yeah, well, I'm
That's a
saying
good-
when
that's a
people
good
come
point.
in and they say, "I want a 6-pack and I want to be looking good. And here's a picture of what I want to look like."
But I don't want to stop eating donuts.
Yes, or
yeah.
or this is a 90-day transformation. You say, let's lower the bar a little bit, and let's do well now, but then let's get ready for next spring and summer, and then you can look like the picture you have in your pocket.
But how do you know what's realistic? Because I'm never going to look like Steve.
Never say never.
Well, Steve, Mike, the thing you would have to do is, do I do what Steve did? Because to look like Steve, you don't do it. Steve, don't you love
Well,
that?
and I don't even think that you guys would recommend me do what Steve did.
No, but Steve,
Am I
you
wrong?
always get the question when people say, "Well, I don't want to look like you," and you go, "Don't worry, because you're not." Right? I mean that's something that you had to say because people would
Well,
think that,
but hold on. If I said I do want to look like Steve,
Well, that's not unrealistic.
You'd have to add
expectation.
you'd have to add the third D. You said diet, dedicate. You know, it's you have to. It becomes life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we wouldn't recommend anybody going down that rabbit hole.
Right. 'Cause it's too much, right?
Well, it's not healthy.
Right.
And
But I can say, well, I want to look like Tom. Well, that's more realistic, right?
Well, if you want to look like me now,
Well, the thing,
but there was a hill that I climbed.
Right. No. That's a whole.
but I want to.
Steve didn't even look like you.
I want to say something. When you asked me that question, how come I'm not taking the same stuff?
Yeah.
But you are.
Okay.
But you have to look. His body has been there, done that, and it has an understanding.
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory. So it has an understanding of
Whole different level of muscle memory that I'll never have.
Once the body goes, oh, that's what we're up to.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Either through the movements
Yes.
or a supplementation that's adding something in that your body's like, oh, I remember. I like that.
And that's what when people ask me, Steve, it really did a great number on you. I said, I have an unfair advantage.
Yes.
My body goes, oh, we're doing that again. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So it has
Unlock
a complete
the memory
understanding.
bank.
Yeah. So for me, for Tom, he steps up his training. He brings in something that rejuvenates his body. His body goes,
Oh, I remember this.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And the things that keep you from progressing, which is a good thing and a natural thing, is the chassis.
So
You can't do, the chassis gets torn down, ligaments and tendons don't respond like muscles do. So you can't stimulate the muscle tissue like it used to be to get the results to look like Steve. Because, like it or not, you cannot defeat time.
I'll
Age
never
will
have
get
the
you.
legs I had before because I just can't walk back with 600 pounds for reps and sets anymore.
No, you can walk back with it, I bet, Steve, but you can't go down and back up without hurting yourself.
Yes.
You don't know. Steve, I bet this. You could come back up, but you would hurt yourself.
I'd leave the gym.
Because the mentality's there.
Yes.
Once you get it off, how many times, Steve, you get something off and you go, oh, this is a mistake. But you're like, people are watching and I got somebody spotting me. And you think, this is a mistake. And you go down and come back up and you go, that was a mistake. And you either you left the gym after that or shortly after that. Hey guys, I got a call I got to go take. And you're like, but it happens.
So let's go back to realistic.
Okay, let's go back
What's realistic for me, right? Without being like, all I'm ever going to do for the next
Mike, can I be
90
honest
days
with you?
is work out, be in the gym.
Can I be honest with you?
Right. Go ahead.
Stick to what you already been given.
Okay.
Is that
Okay,
fair?
but what's realistic?
No. I'm saying you've been working with Steve, and life circumstances have made you go on and off your diet and your workout.
Uh-huh.
So stick to what you've been given. I talked to a young man that I'm helping, and he's 24, and he said, "Hey Tom, I put more legs in." He goes, "Is that wrong?" I go, "No, it's fine." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "I thought they were lagging." And I go, "Well, let's just give your workout 10 days. And I don't know if they're lagging or I don't know if your genetics aren't there." You have to be honest with people because, right, Steve? I mean, somebody could say, "I need to do more leg work." Why? Well, my legs aren't responding. Well, how do you know? They might be responding, but the genetics aren't there. And Steve and I know it. It's a hard subject to breach sometimes, isn't it, Steve?
Yes.
And you have that. You take it, Steve.
It plays like for you. You wouldn't look at Arnold Schwarzenegger and go, "That's my look," because that's not what you want.
I'll never look like that. Yeah.
So you would just have to. I would tell you to look and just figure out a goal. We obsessed over this goals. You have a goal. You set something up, and you say, "That's what I want to look like." Like when I started working out, like first time, picked up the weights, opened the magazine, looked in there. It's like, whoa, that is cool. That's what I want to look like. I drew a picture, and I had a picture of what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Threw it away because it kept evolving and evolving. And the guy I wanted to look like, I met him in real life, and I decided I didn't want to look like that anymore because it wasn't as appealing to the eyeball looking like that. And
you met him in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you realize that they have to fill up an 8x10 picture.
Yes.
So he's taller and bigger in that picture. And when you meet him, it's like, what the heck?
And I realized that that number was not a number I wanted to carry because I wanted to look like I actually worked out. So everything, the line, and it's a sickness.
Oh, it is.
And once you would adapt to the sickness, the line just keeps getting pushed back.
So do you set a goal and say, I want to look like that in that amount of time, or you just say that's what I want to look like?
When you competed, and I would do a show, and I would take a hardline look at the picture. Like, people compliment me on my hamstrings, like, "Oh wow, your hamstrings," and I'm like, if you go look at my early pictures, I had zero, like none. They did not exist. But I did a hardline look and realized I have to work in order to get hamstrings. I wasn't blessed with them. I couldn't just walk out and have a pair. So I had to work. They had to get their own official day to work hamstrings to grow them. So, and that's the obsessive, where if you just take a picture board and you take a well-dressed, nice shoulder guy and go, okay, that's what I would like to look like.
It's a more achievable.
And then you decide from there, oh, I like the Thor body. I like Hugh Jackman, and it's just, like Tom said, what it requires to actually be chiseled, you don't want to go down that road.
Wait, Steve, would you agree that it's not even a healthy state to live in?
No.
I mean, you can see it, and I know a lot of people stay in a very healthy, low body fat state, but I talk to young men all the time and saying, what is your test level like? Because if it's jacked sky high, have you had kids yet? Do you want to have children in the future? Yeah. All this has to be bolded into.
But when you look at those guys, they're taking anabolics, right?
They're taking more than anabolics. They're doing stuff that
anabolics aren't going to get you ripped.
No, they aren't. They are not going to get you ripped.
So what does that do?
I'll say that for another day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have to become a chemist.
Yes.
With this.
Okay.
And either you're going to learn on your own, or you're going to have somebody that can help.
But I'm not going there anyway, so.
No, so that's what I'm saying.
Not a fruitful conversation.
But Mike, what are the first thing I say? Expectations.
Yeah.
So what is my expectation? If you, my hairstylist one day said, Tom, do you realize that every picture that your wife sends you in here with is of Brad Pitt? And I go, no. She goes, you look nothing like Brad Pitt. I go, I know. She goes, hope your wife never meets Brad Pitt. so my wife kept sending me in with pictures. I got home and told Tiffany, I go, hey, I got some really good wisdom today. I hope you never meet Brad Pitt because you obsessed over Brad Pitt.
That's
unconsciously.
That's
you're sending me into my hairdresser with Brad Pitt's picture, wanting me to look like that. Never going to look like that. So I need to do a haircut. It was epiphany. I'm telling you can talk to my wife, Tiffany. But it's expectations. My wife's expectation, I want you to look at Brad Pitt. Never going to look. He's a handsome devil. And I don't have the cheekbones or any of that stuff. So I got to be okay with being me. And I got to be okay with being me with the time frame I give me. Because right now we got 90 days. So, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Yes. You got 90 days. Take a calendar. Start working on eating better and
Number
doing
one.
more.
That's the pyramid starts. The working out is the fun part of the pyramid. That's the fun part. I mean, people don't. I'm gonna work out. That's fun. I enjoy working out. No, like I told the Victor, the young man you sent to me, I said, wait till you have to eat fish and broccoli.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And like it.
And no matter what, that is it.
So he has my blood type.
No, that's for contest time. Like white fish, nothing on it, and a thing of broccoli. You will cry.
At contest time, blood types don't matter.
Okay. No.
The mirror is all that matters.
Yes.
And there's ways to say that I'm not getting that result, so I'll tweak this to get that result. And you might not be happy with it when you get it because you've had to give something to get it. Once you get under a certain body fat, you're going to sacrifice muscle to keep losing weight. And that sometimes isn't what people really want. When I made the conscious decision to leave as a heavyweight bodybuilder, I liked myself as a heavyweight. And I went into the light heavy class. I gave up quality muscle, which I never got back because it just the way it works, right, Steve? I gave it up because it got me to a weight class, but I couldn't get it back, because of physics, because physics would make me weigh more in my body. Once I weighed more, I became a light heavyweight versus a big light heavyweight. But I never could get back with that muscle degree. And so as you're out there, you may have a lot of disagreement with me. Remember, I competed in the 80s. I don't have the advantage of some of the material that we have.
But I love the idea of setting the goal, because that you're right. Like every time I've had a goal for, even, hey, we're going on vacation or whatever. Now I love the idea of actually having a picture of like, hey, I want to look like this, right? But again, like be realistic. So like if I do that, like does it make sense for me to talk to you about it, one of you guys, or to like try to figure it out on my own?
If you do, I push this all the time. I push Steve, and you've heard me say it because I believe in what Steve does. He knows the fitness game, and it is a game because you're playing it, and you're playing it with different pieces because people come to you. You need somebody that has knowledge. You take, and not everybody, Steve, wouldn't you say this? Not everybody that's out there selling their wear can deliver. And Steve can deliver. He can deliver nutritionally, and he can deliver with an exercise program.
Well, and that's why I asked, because I was pretty sure I knew the answer, but I want to hear it from an expert.
So people need somebody to help them. I've got this young kid that I'm helping, and it's, because he's a friend of my son-in-law's, and I'm helping him because he asked me. I go, sure, I'll help you. And so as we're going through this, he said, hey, I want to add more legs. And I go, let's do that, and let's talk about how it worked in 10 days. We'll see how this worked for you. And so as you're out there, Steve, tell them what you would tell a client that, at a different level. Let's just take the bubble and go to the middle. Somebody who understands fitness and maybe has a 19% body fat. Would that be an average body? What would be an average if they come in and they say, hey?
The average person walks around, average healthy person, and average healthy person. And that's where it gets skewed a lot because you have most, like the pictures in the magazines.
They're unhealthy.
You've been airbrushed.
Yeah.
Right.
You've been enhanced.
Yes.
So you're looking at a picture of somebody that's actually been that they're enhanced and the picture itself is enhanced. Yes. People don't understand that 20 to 15 is a good, lean, healthy body fat. That is, you still have a six-pack. You're just not shredded, but you still have a six-pack.
You're not seeing the veins run through between the skin and the muscle.
That is healthy, that you can move, you're healthy, you don't have to worry about your immunity.
You don't see those veins.
So you take somebody like that and they walk off the street. So if we're taking somebody like that walks off the street, that means they're already in decent amount of health. So the first thing you do, and this is wisdom, if you walked in off the street to train with me as a training partner, you're going to walk to the squat rack with me. You're going to do all these compound heavy movements because I'm not going to change what I'm doing because you came to train with me as a partner. You asked to work out with me. So I can't change what I'm doing because I'm working out for me and you just wanted to tag along. Now, if I'm your trainer, you're not seeing any parts of those movements out the gate because ankle mobility, back mobility, hip flexibility.
I love it.
All the things that I have to see with your body, what your body can do. Okay, cool, you can squat, but your knees are buckling, your ankles are buckling, your whole mechanics are off. So let's build you up from the ground. So now you have to go do the silly things that we call silly things because they're not cool. You're not out there on the squat rack. You're not bench pressing. You're not doing the cool movements because you can't do them yet because your body's not ready for that movement yet. So we got to build your ankle up. We got to build your knee up. So you would take a brand new person and I'd walk them on a path of building up mobility and structural strength. It's structural strength before muscular strength because
foundation.
If your ankles and your knees and your back are strong, your core is strong, then I can walk you back with some weight on your back.
Even proper technique when you say, see.
I didn't even got to that part yet. I'm still trying to strengthen you from the ground up. You still have to be strengthened from the ground up.
I love that.
So there's more body part movement. So you would get a lot of body movements. I had a lot of people that, they look at me, Steve, this is all we're going to do. This is all we're going to do today. And by the time we're done with that, they're on the ground because they can't breathe. And all we've done is box squats with body weight, leg lifts, leg raises. These simple things with no weight and they can't move because now you're doing it to where the muscle itself is doing the work. So once the muscle itself knows how to do the work, then you can graduate over and do compound movements. But you have to have the muscle work and not, you watch people cheat their way through a workout. You watch them when they deadlift is the worst thing. I hate watching deadlifts.
I try, I close my eyes nowadays.
Oh,
I do because I go into the room where they have all the, a lot of the dead equipment and I get down there because I do groundwork. I do my stretching and I do my push-ups and I have to close my eyes. First of all, young ladies, some of you shouldn't be in there doing that movement with a bunch of dudes in there. I'm a dad, so I just got to throw that. Is that fair? Is that a fair comment to say?
Yes and no, but yes, I get what you say.
Yeah. So if you're in there, you know that people are watching. So what I do is I close my eyes, not because of that, because I just don't want to see bad form, because it goes against the grain in my body. I grind my teeth. I start to grind my teeth. My daughter was working out one day. She goes, "Why are you grinding your teeth?" I go, "I just want to go help this poor man."
Well, the
not
thing
poor man, a
is-
young man, because he's not doing it right. And my daughter goes, "Dad, he won't listen." I go, "You're right."
But the thing is, you know what an injury looks like.
Yeah.
You know how it happens. You've watched somebody's vertebrae pop out their back. You've watched the back break. Like with kapow, it's a loud noise, and you're like, "What was that?" And next thing you know, the person is on the ground.
It's so funny because I saw a guy the other day. I was going to tell you this story, and I watched him, and he was deadened, and he deaded. It was too much for him, and his form got off. And I go, "He's not putting more weight on," and he did. And I go, "If the form doesn't change, he's going to stop about like this," and he stopped like that, and all you could see was his every vertebrae in his back. And I go, "That is, I mean, it's extended," and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this dude's ready to go to the hospital." That's when my teeth grind. So I close my eyes. I go in there and I just close my eyes, do my exercises. People walk by me. I don't know how many times people walk by and probably wave and says, "Tom's not being nice." I got my eyes closed. I can't deal with it. Hey, sorry.
So you talk about the body fat, right? You're
Yes.
talking about that. Where am I at? You can estimate. You guys are that good.
He's trying to get a free.
It's
session
okay.
of you,
No,
Steve.
because I want people to actually see this that aren't those guys that know. Okay, that's
You're not
what mine is.
20%.
No, I know that.
Okay.
Would you say like 30?
Let's say we're not 20%.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Will we be fair?
Yes.
I knew I was higher than that.
Yes.
But so 15 to 20 is like where the healthy range is.
And that's let me rephrase that. 15 to 20 is not the healthy. That's what you heard. 15 to 20
He's average.
is a good athletic look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you look and you can see the muscle is the bellies are separated. The roundness is there. The shoulders are capped. Everything looks good at 15 to 20. You have the look that you're going for. I had a offensive lineman came to me. He's played in the NFL for years. And he was a big boy.
Yeah.
And he told me he wanted to be 210 pounds. I go, "No, you don't." He goes, "Steve, I want to be 210. I go, "Nah, you'll never make it to 210. I said, "You won't like the way you look. You're used to people getting out of your way."
Yeah.
People don't walk out of the way of 6'5", 210 pound dudes.
They play basketball and volleyball.
Yes. I said, "So you're going to get down about 260, 250, 240, and you're going to be happy." I said, "I promise you, that's our goal." And he was adamant about 210. So we got down to 260. He went, "Oh, you're so right. I'm good. Bye." And I never saw him. That was the end of our sessions. We got down to 260, and he's like, "Oh, no, this is perfect." And I said,
Well, because he realized you knew what you were talking about, and he was satisfied.
"Yes."
And I think that's something that if you're out there and you got 90 days as a countdown, you have to have the realistic goal, like Steve's saying, and then when you get there, be satisfied. Be happy with those weekly. It's like Steve said, it was so appropriate. You're going to take somebody in the gym, and if they don't start lifting and squatting 300 pounds, they're not happy with you. Well, that's not your fault. That's the process. And so somebody comes with the 90-day countdown and wants to be there, you're not going to be there. And you just got to be honest and be able to say, "I'm not going to be there." So that's why I was telling you, Mike, at the basis, the whole thing is if you're out there and you're going to start, eat less, do more. And you don't need a trainer. Just walk out your front dog, take your dog, and walk around the block, walk halfway down the block, then come back, and then progress in.
And if you do get a trainer, it's your money you're spending.
Yes.
Make sure you've had a trainer that actually knows what a plateau looks
Oh,
like.
Steve, you're telling me about it. Tell them about your new experience. I love it, Steve.
So I see people, and I'm like you, Tom. I see things, and I have to close my eyes. And I see people that call themselves trainers, and I have to close my eyes. And especially in our industry, somebody does a show or a competition, and all of a sudden they're a trainer
They got credibility.
because they did a show or a meet, and so now
Steve, wouldn't you say your first one, your
first 10.
your first, your body gets you there.
Yes.
I mean, you just start to find out where you started.
Yes. And that's what your strength curve looks like this. It just goes like this. You need to find you a trainer who's had a curve that goes like this.
And overcome injuries.
Yeah. understands that, hey, your body's a little lagging. There's nothing wrong with pulling up. Like if I had somebody and they were doing a show and they're behind schedule, like way behind schedule, let's push back the show. Let's find another show. Hey, so you were injured this whole prep. You were injured this whole prep for the meet. Whatever it is, you weren't able to give your full percentage. I'm not going to put you on the stage to hurt yourself, to make yourself look bad. Hey, let's recomp and do it again.
Let's come in at your best. I pulled out of the 1984 California. 83, I placed fifth, tough division. Mike Christian won it. And 84, I was on track. And I had a tough conversation with myself and then with my people that invested in me. And we decided to pull out probably 3 weeks before the show. So glad I did it. Next year, I won my class and the overall. And so, but I did it. But it was the right thing to do. Did I have to answer a lot of questions with my sponsors and stuff? Yeah, absolutely. They were okay with me standing on stage because I did do that when I, in the future, and it was a disaster. So it's,
and you look bad, they'll leave you.
Yeah, and it's not my fault. I had that conversation with Joe Weider. Joe is dead. God rest his soul. Rest in peace, Joe. But I had that conversation when he says, Tom, what happened? I go, you happened. You had me flying everywhere. I did a photo shoot 2 days before. They wanted me back in that morning. I go, I'm supposed to be in Miami. I'm supposed to be in a show. You want me to do a photo shoot? Got in trouble because I said, oh, yeah, I'll do it. And I didn't show up. And I met the photography and my photographer in Miami, and it's John Balick. And he's like, Tom, you're in trouble because you didn't show up. I go, well, I'm going to deal with that. I'm in trouble because I don't look good. I go, that's what I'm in trouble for. And I did. And Joe and I had that conversation. I go, dude, you're my problem. You had me flying all over America, Canada, Mexico.
So what do you guys say to someone that's...
I was ranting. I'm sorry.
No. It's all good. But you guys were talking about nutrition before.
Yep.
So what do you say to someone that's like, I have a hard time like with self-control, right? Now I'll add my own 2 cents into that, and then you guys can talk about it. But like for me, like at first it's like a little more difficult, but then once you get in it, like I just feel so much better. Like I look at a donut, I'm like, ugh, I don't even want that, right? But what do you tell someone that's maybe has a little bit more struggle with their food, self-control, those things?
So you're gonna have to overcome that. Steve can't do it for him. I can't do it for him. You can't do it for us.
Right.
I just say you've got to get to the point that you're eating to live, not living to eat.
You're not eating for taste.
Yes.
Once you've made the desire to actually do this sub 15% body fat, you're not eating for taste. You're eating for results.
Yeah.
Eating for taste is that 20%, that 25%. You can still have good taste and be healthy and athletic. So like when I wrote you your plan,
Yeah.
I gave you a lot of options.
You did.
Yes, he did.
And the reason I gave you a lot of options is because most people fail. Like if I wrote you a bodybuilding diet, you would have failed it. Because a bodybuilding diet is right here. Bang, 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 bang. There is no if, and, or buts. You don't get to change. Because if you change your food, I won't know what happened when you plateaued. So I have to make sure I'm in control of what you're eating. So if something goes wrong, I can move this, I can pull that, I can bring this in. I understand what's going on with your food because I know what's going in your system. If you have a multivariety, I don't know what's going on with your system because turkey has a different level of creatine, then meat has a different level of creatine. The way the carbs absorb in a sweet potato versus white rice, it's just all these different things. But if I just keep it bodybuilding, nobody wants that.
Well, it's so funny because I think what you said is very important to people that are out there. Because if you don't have the right expectations, you aren't going to understand this because he's going to say, you got to quit eating for taste. And you're like, well, I still want to live. Well, that means you're going to have to give up the sub 15. And so giving up the sub 15 is not a bad thing. You can't go in and say, well, I'm going to go to Steve and still eat what I want, and he's going to make me look like that because it'll never happen.
Well, healthy is 60-40.
Yeah.
It's a 60-40. And when I used to do personal training in the corporate gyms, I used to tell people a 60-40 is give you a healthy lifestyle.
What's 60-40?
60 for 40 is 60% of your meals are clean, 40% of your meals are unhealthy. So if you have, like you said, if you have one burger and a fry for lunch or for dinner, but you've had your meal prep, you know, whatever we had for breakfast, whatever we decide for lunch, whatever we decide for the healthy in between meals, but you still had a burger, you're still a healthy person. You're living a 60-40 life. You're coming in the gym, you're doing your cardio, you're doing your workouts, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're just not trying to be the sub 15. You just want to be healthy.
Okay.
But you got to realize what Steve said. You can't bring in a picture now and say that's what it would look like then. Listen to the advice and go out. I will tell you another thing that will foil your body direction is listening to too many people. Not even just the wrong people, listening to too many people. You've heard the old adage, too many cooks spoil.
It's not even your diet, it's your workout.
Yeah. I mean, people come in, and this is the most frustrating thing. Want to look like this, great, till you tell them what to do, and then they start doing it. Somebody says, what are you doing? No, you shouldn't do that.
You know, every time I see people that are on my plan, and I'm like, that's not it. That's not in there.
Yeah, and pretty soon they go, well, you need to do this. And pretty soon now you got a hybrid, and you cannot deal with that. I mean, honestly, that's probably the 60-40. It's like, expect that. I mean, and I don't want to be hard out there because I'm an old guy. But if we're here, we're talking about you wanting to get there, and you having the real is. I love what Steve said. Have that healthy body, that 15-20, and have the abs, but you're not going to have the veins running through the abs. I'm not even sure you want that because people don't know what that even feels like. It's another world feeling. And
there's nothing like crying because you're driving past a donut shop.
If you're out there and you look like this, I had that. I mean, honestly, I always had an ability to get hard. A lot of people say, hey, that's a blessing. And I go, it's a blessing and a curse. But you can't say that that's what I will look like and everybody can look like that. I couldn't put somebody on a diet that I was following expecting to look like it because it's a thing called genetics. And you can't battle genetics.
I always laugh when people talk about being big and ripped on the, and I know you like the fasting. I'm not a fan of it.
No. I like its usefulness for certain periods.
Yes.
You can't stay on it.
Yeah, and people talk about being able to do that, and I said, and I always fall back. I said, the person you're looking at, when you see them in real life, you realize they're about as big as a minute, and they've been ripped since they were in the 5th grade.
Yes.
So it looks really great.
Well, Mike and I get a chance to interview some Ninja Warriors, and you've helped us to it, but they have a different build. Yes, you can see their muscles. They are smaller in person when you see them, and like you said, it's just one of those
Justin
things.
was actually bigger in person.
Well, I'm just saying, Justin's bigger in person because he's not competing as a Ninja Warrior anymore. There's Steve said.
No, I mean, he was built.
Well, I'm not saying, but he's not competing anymore as a Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
That's
you don't want that weight.
fling it through the air on, what do they call that little rack where you
You don't want to be
the fish ladder.
You don't want to be 300 pounds trying to
salmon ladder.
Yes. No, you want to be as densely muscled as possible with as less weight as you can carry.
Well, it's so funny because the guys I get nowadays are mainly the older guys. And if you're out there and you're an older guy, I'm saying you need to be happy with where you are.
Don't get an 18-year-old trainer?
Yeah. Because
they don't know.
Sometimes there's unrealistic expectations from them to you. I tell older guys now, you got to watch the things that you're doing. I tell them, try to do compound movements. Now, when I tell them to do compound movements, I'm saying to do a shoulder press on the machine. So it's not behind the neck press with a bar. It's not the dumbbell press on a bench because we're older. And I go, we're going to get hurt. But you've got to keep compound movements in.
You know what I've learned to tell people? You might think you're prime, but your joints are not prime anymore.
and they don't appreciate you making them perform like you did or like you think they should.
Your joints will let you know, okay, we did free weights last week. Don't ask me again for another 3.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there again, you've in older guys and gals, when you're out there, you want to make sure that you're putting movements in your life that are making your mobility better, not hurting yourself. I tell people, if you're doing a compound movement, people think, well, I'm going to do bench presses, do push-ups. I mean, hey, the whole thing is you're just not pushing weight on you, and you're pushing the opposite direction. And if you are going to do a bench press, stay away from the heavy weights. You got to do some type of a dip, but do it on the machine. They got that nice little tricep one now. Now you can do it, and then pull-ups are a great compound movement, and so are rows. Now, I'm not saying get on a low row and expose your lower back to an injury, because they have the nice little machines now. And if you guys see me go in the gym, I'm on the machines. I'm not trying to go do that. I mean, you got to take care of your body as you're older, but you can't give up on those things that engage multiple muscle groups.
Yep.
Because you don't have the time or the recoverability to work the front delt, the medial delt, and the rear delt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those days are gone by, and older people just have to let them go by.
Yep.
Just kind of like driving by the freeway. What was that? Oh, never mind. We're not going to see that sight again. But what I'm saying is, don't give up. Don't give up. So you got to be realistic. I mean, that's all we're saying. Be realistic to yourself. Employ other people's knowledge, but follow their knowledge. That's probably the best example best advice I can give people who have 90-day countdown, and lower your expectations. Be happy with where you go. Start planning for next year with a full 12 months in front of you.
Yeah. So I think just my biggest question now is there some kind of supplement or something that would help to get us there at that short amount of time, or
is there a cheat code?
Yeah, like a realistic cheat code, not like I'm going to expect to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in 3 months cheat code, right?
No matter, it's what I tell people when they come in. There are supplements that will speed up and get you to the goal quicker and easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. It'll make it easier.
Yeah.
And I put it
There's
in
no shortcuts. We'll put it there.
Yes, and I put it in quotations just simply because you still have to put in the work. I can give you the world's best fat burner, the world's best muscle enhancer. I give you the world's best anything, but we'll go back to bodybuilding. Okay, so we'll take bodybuilding 101. There are a million guys walking around the gym taking the same supplements as the top of the line Mr. Olympia, but they don't look like that because everything is supplementing and augmenting some form of diet.
Mm.
So if I want to be shredded, I have to eat a certain way. If I want to look healthy, I have to eat a certain way. No matter what I am taking, and there are tons of them that work great. I can sit here and pull out a dictionary and tell you all the ones that work great, but they're all going to be reliant on how you and the fork work. If you can't push away from the table, no matter what you're taking, it won't do anything. It would be like trying to throw water out of a sinking ship. If it has a hole in the bottom, no matter how much I scoop, I'm still.
And Steve, wouldn't you say that the nighttime guy screws up the morning time guy? Because those nighttime snacks are the ones that when you wake up, you don't look like you did the day before.
The nighttime snack is because your brain turns off. Yeah. That's always the hardest because when you go home, you're done with your day, your work day's over, you're going to relax. That's when your brain will let you know 9 times out of 10, we bought those Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
And
comfort food is much more tasty.
And you're tired, you're relaxing, you're doing whatever it is, and you're part of the day that helps your brain relax. And the amount of dopamine and serotonin and euphoria you get from that sweet will just put you that resting where you're like,
Bible says sin for the moment is pleasureful, but it's the long term. Sin is just missing the mark. It's not.
I love the way Steve puts it though, like the emphasis, right? Because so many guys that are like probably my level of experience and maybe even a little bit further along, some of them think, oh, I'm going to go take this supplement or that supplement, and it's gonna yes, it's gonna be the magic pill.
We've all talked about the Liver King,
right? But your point is
he got dethroned, didn't he? He got dethroned.
What does the word supplement mean? It's not the thing. It's not the magic pill.
And that's why I if you walk in, that speech is rehearsed because I tell it to everybody that comes in.
Yeah, you practiced it 1,000 times.
To let them know.
In front of different faces.
To let them know, yes, I'm giving you the best product that is available to the market, to the public for you to do. But if you don't do this, this, and this,
If you go home and eat Pepsi and Oreos,
this is not going to work. And I don't want you to call me a liar.
yeah.
I'm very upfront with that. I don't want you to somebody say, "Oh, Steve gave me that, it didn't work." No, you will say, "Well, Steve gave it to me. I didn't do the right thing."
You sabotaged the result.
Well,
Yes.
Tom, you didn't become Mr. California because you took supplements.
No, people want to believe that. They want to say there's a reason you look like that and the reason I look like that.
Oh, you mean those celebrity trainers that you see on YouTube that say they got so and so in shape because they were balancing on their toes?
Steve, isn't it
Yeah.
funny? But people will come to
The
you.
5 fingers.
People will come to you, and the first thing that you and I will do is size up their genetics. It's mental, right? You go shoulder, waist, hip, thigh.
I see you do it
All
the time.
If it looks like this, you got a good frame. If it looks like this, wow, we got a lot of work. Lower your expectations. But once you even have a good base, it takes a lot.
You know, it's more frustrating than that
Hard work.
is seeing somebody with good genetics.
Oh. Tim Tebow says it. Hard work beats talent every time talent doesn't work hard.
I have nothing to say after that.
Yep.
That's it.
Mic drop.
Yes.
Hey, thank you for tuning in. Hope we're helpful. Hey, drop it the comment sections, ask us questions, subscribe. Hey, we love doing this. We hope it's benefiting you. If it's not, tell us what will, and we'll hopefully bring
What
bring
he
the
said.
heat.
What he said.
Have a blessed day.